What's up, everybody? I'm Mckenty. This is my second channel, and this is your home for my Twitch highlights and my podcast. So if you like this and you want to see more of that and you want to join the live streams, there's a link to that in the description of this video. And with that out of the way, let's listen to this. This band is called Bloodywood, and you can see here by the title, this is Indian folk metal. So they are a metal band from India, and I think that they do something very interesting. You know, it's hard for foreign bands to break out, and I think what a lot of foreign bands want to do is pretend to be American bands. They think that that's the way that they're going to become successful and the way to market themselves to Westerners or to Americans. And I don't think that's true. Bloodywood is a great example of that, of doing something that's definitely metal, and it sounds like metal, and it's familiar to an American or to a Western audience, but it's still very Indian. So I think it's pretty interesting. This is the first song I heard by them. Like, this is fucking cool. I don't know the name of that drum, if that's a tabla or what, but we got the drum, the Indian drum, and the sitar. And they have Hindi lyrics. This band's fucking good. And they just have a lot of energy. You know, what I think works about this is, I've talked before about this, but if you feel something genuine and authentic and you express that in your music, that's what people connect with. It doesn't even matter if they understand it necessarily, because as Westerners, as Americans, I think probably very few of us, unless you happen to be South Asian or something, which obviously I'm not, most of us don't really understand what they're talking about. I've never been to India. I know a lot of Indian Americans, but India and Indian Americans, those are two different things. So even though I don't really understand what they're talking about or the particular issues in this song, people pick up on the sincerity and the authenticity, which they have a ton of. I thought you didn't like bands where you can't understand lyrics. Well, if you're watching the video, you'll know that we can understand the lyrics because they're right here on the screen. This kind of thing. He says, I don't need no gun. I bring the fire of the third world, son. People pick up on that kind of stuff. They're bringing their actual experience into their music, which is an experience that Americans just, you know, it's a fundamentally different experience. And even if we don't understand it, you still connect with it, because that's what people appreciate about music. Musically, they're good. I don't really typically like djenty, nu metal-y kind of stuff, and I don't like rap metal, but again, anything can be good if it's done right. Like, as long as you are sincere and you are expressing something with passion, it can work. So, I've seen this band around for quite a while, but this is the first song that I really heard by them. And I was like, this is fucking cool and different. And even though I don't necessarily like this style of metal for the most part, I do like it when they do it. I think it works. So let's listen to this new song called Dana Dan, I guess. I don't know what it's about, but let's check it out. More of that percussion. That is a tabla, okay. So apparently this is about sexual assault. They're djenting in a colored room, but it works. The only band who's allowed to djent in a colored room is Bloodywood. I put a fist in the face of a rapist. It is kind of like Indian System of a Down, but none of Surge is weird. Whoa, 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 whoa. This guy's got a great voice. He just has so much energy. This part's cool. I don't know what that instrument is, but I like it. Wallet chains, too. This is the most important part. Look, multiple members of this band have wallet chains. That's how you know their music is high quality. Name another video produced in 2022 where you can see 2 wallet chains in a single frame. How about that? There's so much of this that, like, on paper I don't like. I hate nu metal. I hate, like, djent for the most part. I hate rap metal. But I really like what these guys do. There's something about it that works when they do it. This guy's got great vocals. It's really impressive. Like, listen to how fast he's scream rapping. That fast with that much power, that's tough. That's tough, man. This guy's a really good vocalist. It's just so high intensity, you know? You can't fake this kind of energy. I criticize all these kind of generic gent bands that do a similar sound, the genty new metal-y kind of things that I criticize all the time, because I don't think any of them have something to say. I think they're just saying what they think you're supposed to say and playing riffs that they think you're supposed to play, but I don't think that they actually have anything to say. That's what I think. It certainly doesn't feel like it to me. That's the reason why I like the new Whitechapel song, which even though I don't typically like that kind of music, I liked that song because I could tell that they had something to say, like that Phil was trying to get something off his chest, and I respond to that. Even though I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about, you can just feel that genuine emotion, and that's the same thing that these guys have going on, and it's the reason why it works, because unlike the rest of these bands that are just doing it because, you know, it's trendy and everyone else is doing it, they've got something to say, and you can feel that. You know, this part here with whatever that instrument is, it's cool to hear these other sonic elements, you know, like the tabla and whatever that woodwind or horn kind of thing is. It's cool to hear that stuff. Not because it's exotic necessarily, but just because it's different, you know? The fact that they're able to bring that into their music is pretty interesting. I think especially with this kind of music where it's all about like rhythm and groove, I think hearing that percussion really adds a lot. It's an interesting kind of juxtaposition of these Indian outfits with like the dancing and then headbanging and stuff. They've managed to combine this like Indian folk music with metal in a way that feels very natural. And that's not easy to do, to blend those things in a way that doesn't feel forced. This is really impressive to me. It's just different enough, you know? The synth part is cool.
Yeah, if you're straight, time to turn back and run with the pack. It's time to fight, yeah, we got the ammo to stack. Raise a fist for the nameless faces. He disgraces, raise a fist for the nameless faces.
I'm a fan. They've been around for a while, I think, yeah. A couple years at least. Exactly. Finally, something interesting in metal that isn't old. That's exactly how I feel about it. And this too, bands like this make you realize how dry your playlist is. This is exactly my point. How can people expect me to be interested in generic, genty, progressive metalcore band number fucking 5048 when stuff like this exists that's actually different? And it's not different for the sake of being different. It's different in a way that makes sense specifically for them. You know, they're doing stuff that nobody else could do. I think there's so much here that's cool. Aside from everything that I talked about, to me, the lesson is that there's sort of this idea that Western audiences won't pay attention to anything unless it's basically a carbon copy of Western music. It's just not true. This is a great example of it. It does not matter what language something is in. The rise of K-pop in general is another example of this. Like, if you're good enough and you're different enough and you have something to say, people will respond to it. I think it's awesome to see that they've had this much success, specifically by not trying to be a Western band. And it's not like some cartoonish kind of caricature, you know, like back in the 80s and 90s, whenever there were Indian people in the media, it would always be this like horrible caricature where they made them put on, you know, the Indian accent and stuff. It's not that, but at the same time, they're not trying to be an American band either. They're doing what is authentically them. They are an Indian metal band, and I think it's really fucking cool. I'm really happy to see that they've gotten as much success that they have. I think this band's fucking great. You know, if they're getting millions of views on this, I don't know if they've toured in the States or not. I don't think they have, but I would love to see them come over here and, you know, see what they can do. And in general, I think I'm interested in the Indian scene at large because there's over 1 billion people in India. And I've heard sort of enough examples to know that there is an Indian metal scene. And anytime there's 1 billion people, even a small percentage of that population works out to a lot of fans, right? So even if this stuff never breaks out of South Asia, between like India and Pakistan and, you know, whatever, like Sri Lanka, that's a lot of fucking people. And I actually, and there's enough Indian people or South Asian people all over the world that I think there's a market for this stuff, and it would be very refreshing to see this stuff kind of break out into its own scene and do something that's not fucking, you know, dudes with man buns genting in a colored room. So shout out to Bloodywood. I'm excited for their new song, and I'm excited to see where they go from here.